Undercover boss visits his luxury showroom, freezes when he hears the detailer crying in the back. What happens when a CEO walks into his own luxury car showroom pretending to be a customer, only to uncover the truth hidden beneath the polish and chrome? Ethan Cole, the 42-year-old founder and CEO of Velocity Luxe Motors, had spent the last 15 years building his reputation in the high-end automotive world. From handcrafted Italian interiors to personalized concierge services, his brand promised more than just cars. It promised class, trust, and excellence. But lately, something felt off. Customer complaints about pushy sales tactics and fake warranty packages were piling up. Internal audits looked clean, but the whispers Ethan was hearing from longtime clients and a few former employees told a different story. Despite constant reassurances from his regional directors, he couldn't shake the feeling that one of his showrooms was rotting from the inside. Determined to see the truth with his own eyes, Ethan devised a plan. He'd go undercover. No suits, no entourage, no luxury watch. Just a hoodie, a pair of scuffed sneakers, and an alias. His destination? Cypress Hills showroom, a sleek, glass-walled location 3 hours from his corporate headquarters. It was far enough that most employees wouldn't recognize him, especially since he'd never visited the branch in person. He wasn't there to shop. He was there to listen. And what he'd find behind the luxury facade would shake the foundation of everything he thought he'd built. The first thing Ethan noticed when he walked into Cypress Hills showroom wasn't the soft jazz playing from the overhead speakers or the scent of leather and wax that hovered in the air. It was the silence. Not the kind that feels peaceful, the kind that makes you feel like you've just stepped onto the set of a performance and everyone's pretending they don't see you. He looked like any other walk-in client, hoodie a little too big, jeans comfortably worn, sneakers scuffed at the edges. No Rolex, no handshake-ready smile. Just another customer, maybe a teacher or a freelance designer, hoping to test drive a dream. He strolled past the chrome-trimmed Aston Martins and matte black Porsches, eyeing every car the way he knew a real client would. Slow, wide-eyed, calculating. And while he scanned the vehicles, he was really watching the people. The first real interaction came not from a sales associate, but from the woman on her knees in the corner of the showroom. She wore a navy uniform shirt, sleeves rolled to her elbows, her latex-gloved hands buffing out a faint scuff on the rear bumper of a Bentley Continental. Her movements were precise, almost reverent. Every motion said she'd done this 1,000 times. But her face looked tired. That was Lisa Monroe, 42 years old, quiet, methodical, and invisible to everyone else in the building. As Ethan approached, she paused just long enough to give him a small, polite smile, one of those "I'm not sure if I should speak" kind of smiles, then went back to work. No welcome, no pitch, no scripted opening line. She wasn't here to impress anyone. She was here to protect something. The cars, the reputation, maybe her pride. Before Ethan could say anything to her, a different energy entered the room. Fast steps, expensive cologne, voice raised just a notch too high. "Sir, you looking for something specific today?" The man had that look Ethan had seen 1,000 times in corporate boardrooms. A thin smile, slick back hair, a suit that screamed commission-based confidence. Jason Blake, 29, senior sales associate, rising star of the Cypress Hills team, at least on paper. "I've got an AMG package I think you're gonna love," Jason continued, motioning toward the far end of the floor. "We can throw in our platinum protection bundle today if you're serious about locking in. But full disclosure, price jumps next week." Ethan tilted his head slightly. "What's included in the bundle?" Jason grinned like a man revealing a magic trick. Extended warranty, ceramic coating, tire and wheel protection, and interior guards. All legit, all from our trusted partners. But Ethan knew what the bundle really was. Paper-thin coverage sold as a luxury upsell. He'd seen the fine print before, buried in complaint emails that never reached his desk directly. And now here it was, live and in action. As Jason walked him through more exclusive incentives, Ethan let his attention drift. He caught the quick flick of Lisa's eyes in Jason's direction. Not fear, not hate, just resignation. Like she'd heard the speech too many times before and already knew how the story would end. She finished with the Bentley and began to roll her cart toward a black SUV. The wheels creaked slightly and one bottle of polish clinked against a ragged microfiber cloth. Jason didn't notice her. He never even glanced her way. "Just think about it," Jason said, patting Ethan on the back like they'd known each other for years. "But if you want that bundle locked in, I can call finance and get the paperwork started in 10. Ethan gave a nod. "Let me walk around a bit first." Jason smiled, turned sharply, and was gone, off to charm someone else. And Ethan stood there, feeling the weight of what he hadn't wanted to believe. It wasn't just about one bad policy or an overzealous pitch. It was the culture, the performance, the way people like Jason played the game to win, while people like Lisa cleaned up the mess afterward. He wandered toward the SUV where Lisa was crouched again, wiping gently along the chrome rim. "Excuse me," he said softly. She looked up. "Yes, sir? How long have you worked here?" Lisa blinked. "Almost 9 years." "Wow," Ethan said, watching her hands move carefully across the wheel. "You take a lot of pride in your work." She gave a tight, modest nod. "I just don't like customers seeing fingerprints on the glass or dust in the wheel wells. They came here expecting perfection." Ethan smiled, but something twisted in his chest. The clients came expecting perfection. Lisa worked herself silent to make it happen, and Jason sold them illusions just shiny enough to hide the truth. As she moved to the next panel of the car, Ethan turned to glance across the showroom. Jason stood by the reception counter now, laughing with another associate. Loud, comfortable, in control. Ethan had come here hoping the whispers were wrong, but now he knew. This wasn't just a bad apple. It was a system, and he wasn't just going to walk away. It happened in a moment so ordinary, most people would have missed it. Ethan had been pacing the edges of the showroom for nearly 30 minutes, pretending to study specs and engine trims, while subtly observing the people who made this place run. Lisa was still working, now crouched behind a Range Rover, brushing dust from the inner rim of a wheel well like she was sculpting something sacred. And Jason? He hadn't stopped moving either. Charming, selling, talking louder than necessary, always looking past people, never at them. Then came the sound, a loud clipped voice that cracked through the calm like a whip. "Lisa, again with the scratches? Are you serious?" Ethan froze. The voice came from behind the service bay partition, Jason standing next to a white Maserati, finger jabbing toward the side panel. Lisa had just finished wiping it down. She was holding her cloth in both hands, standing so still it looked like she was shrinking in place. Ethan edged closer, pretending to admire the Maserati. He could hear everything now. "That's the third car this week," Jason hissed. "If you're going to scuff the paint every time you show up, maybe we should just start billing you." Lisa didn't respond. Her eyes were fixed on the floor, her shoulders stiff. "I didn't scratch it," she said softly. "That mark was already there. I was trying to polish it out." Jason scoffed, rolling his eyes. "Of course you were. Always some excuse." Ethan took a slow step forward, pretending to admire the rear tire. Then from the shadows near the service bay, a younger voice spoke. "She's telling the truth." They both turned. Marcus, a skinny kid in a Velocity Polo, maybe 23 at most, stood by a workbench, holding a torque wrench like it might protect him. He wasn't supposed to say anything. You could see it in his posture, half defiant, half apologetic. "I logged the damage yesterday when the car came in. Left side scuff. Looked like someone hit a curb. It's in the notes." Jason's mouth tightened. "Stay out of this." Marcus swallowed but didn't back down. "I just thought you should know." Ethan felt something shift, not in the room, but in himself. He'd seen enough. He stepped forward, still undercover, still anonymous, but this time his voice carried more weight. "Is there a problem here?" Jason turned, his fake polished charm switching on in an instant. No, just a small quality issue. Nothing to worry about." Lisa didn't look up. Marcus stared at the floor now, regretting everything. But Ethan didn't blink. He locked eyes with Jason. "Maybe give her a minute," he said evenly. "Doesn't look like this conversation's doing much good." Jason's jaw tensed. She's fine. Ethan turned his attention to Lisa, her gloves still on, fingers twitching, knuckles white from how tightly she clutched her cloth. "Are you okay?" he asked gently this time. Lisa looked up at him, startled. Her eyes were red, not from crying, but from years of not being allowed to. She nodded, almost imperceptibly. "I'm fine," she murmured. But she wasn't, and he knew it. "You've been working nonstop since I got here," Ethan said. "Maybe take 5. Just breathe." Jason started to interject, but Ethan didn't let him. "She's taking a break," he said, calm but firm. For a second, the silence came back. That same heavy performance stage silence from earlier. But this time, Jason wasn't in control of it. Lisa slowly stepped away, walking toward the back hallway like someone retreating from a battle she didn't sign up for. Marcus followed her with his eyes, then returned to organizing his tools with mechanical focus. Jason turned back to Ethan. "Look, man, I'm not trying to start anything. Just keeping standards high, you know?" Ethan didn't answer. Not yet. He needed more. He needed to see if this was a moment or a pattern. So he backed off, but not really. He stepped away from the scene, found a quiet corner of the showroom near the glass facade, and pulled out a small black notebook from his hoodie pocket. With calm hands and a pen he always kept on him, Ethan started writing. Jason blames Lisa for the pre-existing scratch. Marcus defended her. Timid but truthful, "Lisa hasn't stopped working since I walked in. Sales culture is aggressive, dismissive, no visible management present." He paused, underlined the last point twice. The real problem wasn't Jason. It was the absence of accountability, a vacuum where leadership was supposed to be. When Lisa eventually returned to the floor, she didn't make eye contact with anyone. But as she passed Ethan, he offered her a quiet smile. "You take good care of these cars," he said. She paused, and for the first time, she looked at him. Not like a customer, not like another person she had to tolerate, but like someone who might actually see her. "Thank you," she whispered. Then she moved on. But Ethan didn't. He wasn't leaving. Not tonight. And definitely not without finding out how deep this rot really went. Ethan didn't sleep much that night. He sat in his hotel room across from the showroom, watching the lights dim from his window. The notebook lay open on the bed beside him, a mess of scribbled observations and underlined names. Jason, Lisa, Marcus. But what troubled him most wasn't the individuals. It was what they represented, a system built on surface polish and buried pressure. The next morning he was back early. Same hoodie, same sneakers, same anonymous face. The showroom opened slowly, like a machine warming up. The espresso machine hissed in the back lounge. An older man in a blue blazer adjusted the blinds. But Lisa was already there. First one in, wiping down the front doors before the sun even hit the glass. Ethan watched her move, slower today. Her steps were more deliberate. There was something different in her shoulders, like the weight of yesterday hadn't lifted, just settled in deeper. "Morning," he offered quietly. She looked at him, surprised, then nodded. "You again. I like nice cars," he smiled. "And quiet mornings." She let out the softest laugh. "Well, you're in the right place. For now." He leaned slightly closer. "Can I ask you something?" Lisa hesitated, then nodded, just once. "How long's it been like this?" he asked. Her eyes darted toward the service bay. Jason wasn't in yet. Lisa looked back at Ethan, her voice just above a whisper. "It didn't start this way." She told him about the early days, how the showroom used to feel like a family, how her attention to detail used to be praised, how even cleaning was seen as a part of the brand's promise. Luxury, inside and out. But then they started pushing numbers, she said. Sales quotas, packages, warranties. Everything became about what you could push instead of what you could protect. "And Jason?" Ethan asked gently. Lisa's face hardened slightly, her voice quieter. He saw where the incentives were. Got good at pretending. Loud enough to get praise. Quiet enough to avoid accountability. Ethan nodded slowly. "And what about Marcus?" That made her pause. Then something softened in her expression. "He's different. Quiet, but kind." helps out without asking. If I'm honest, she looked down at her gloves. If it weren't for him, I might have quit already. Ethan thanked her, then moved toward the service bay. Marcus was there, organizing tools, focused. He flinched when Ethan called his name. I don't think I ever introduced myself, Ethan said. Marcus hesitated. You're the guy from yesterday. I am. Marcus stood straighter. Look, I didn't mean to step on anyone's toes. I couldn't watch her get blamed for something she didn't do. Ethan nodded. That's rare. Marcus blinked. What is? Speaking up, especially when you're new, especially when it's easier to stay silent. Marcus shrugged. I guess someone has to. Ethan didn't push further. He didn't need to. That one sentence said enough. Just then, the glass doors whooshed open, and the energy in the room changed. Jason had arrived. Hair perfect, suit sharp, voice louder than necessary. He was already talking before anyone asked him to. All right, people, let's get this day going. Got a client at 10 who's big on appearance. Make sure that Jag looks like it just rolled out of the factory. Ethan watched how the others reacted. One receptionist gave him a smile, forced and quick. A junior salesman nodded like it was habit. Lisa didn't look up. Jason strutted toward the Maserati from yesterday, whistling to himself. He ran a finger along the hood, checking for spots, then turned to Lisa. This still has a smudge on the rear door. You planning to fix that, or are we giving out discounts today? Ethan stood before she could answer. His voice was calm, measured. Why don't you fix it? Jason turned slowly, recognizing the hoodie, the face, but not the tone. Excuse me? Ethan stepped forward, just enough to close the distance. I've seen you push fake packages, berate staff, lie to customers, and now you're trying to humiliate the only person who actually protects this brand's image. Jason stared at him, confusion flickering into irritation. Who the hell do you think you are? Ethan reached into his back pocket and pulled out his wallet, opened it slowly, held up the ID card, gold embossed with the Velocity Luxe Motors crest. I'm Ethan Cole, he said, voice quiet but unmistakably clear. I own this place. Silence fell. Jason's face drained of color. The receptionist dropped her pen. Lisa's hands stopped moving mid-polish. Even Marcus froze. Ethan looked around the room. Let the silence breathe. I've been watching, listening, and I'm done pretending. He turned to Jason. Office. Now Jason didn't move, so Ethan walked, and Jason followed. And the others? They didn't say a word. But behind their stillness, something had cracked open. A shift, a new current in the air. For the first time, justice had entered the room, and it wasn't wearing a suit. The office door closed behind them with a soft click, but the air inside was anything but quiet. Jason stood just a few feet from Ethan, stiff and sweating now. The confidence he wore so easily in the showroom didn't make it through the door. Without his audience, his tone shifted. Look, Mr. Cole, he started, already reaching for damage control. I didn't realize who you were yesterday, and I definitely didn't mean to. Stop. Ethan didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. Jason froze. Ethan stepped forward, resting both hands on the edge of the desk between them. His expression didn't waver. You think this is about me? Jason blinked, confused. I just mean, if I'd known it was you, I would have... Ethan cut in again. Treated people better? Silence. Jason, Ethan continued, quieter now. That's the problem. You think basic decency is reserved for when someone important's watching. Jason opened his mouth again, but Ethan held up a hand. I've been reading complaints, listening to staff, watching the way you talk to customers, how you sell, the fake warranties, the manipulation, the way you talk down to Lisa like she's an inconvenience instead of the reason half these cars shine like new. I didn't mean... You meant every word, Ethan said, because it got you ahead. Jason looked away. He wasn't used to being called out, especially not like this. You've been here, what, 2 years? Ethan asked. Jason nodded slowly. Just over. You're talented, Ethan admitted. You know how to sell. You know how to play the room. But somewhere along the way, you forgot what we actually sell here. Jason looked up, confused. We don't sell cars, Ethan said. We sell trust. That landed hard. And right now, Ethan continued, stepping around the desk, I wouldn't trust you with a set of keys, let alone a customer. Jason's face flushed. Please, Mr. Cole, just give me a chance to fix it. I can change. Ethan paused, watching him, and for a moment there was almost pity in his eyes. I believe people can change, he said, but not while they're still in the position to keep hurting others. He reached into his back pocket again, this time pulling out a folded paper, the termination form he'd prepped in the hotel last night, just in case. He laid it on the desk. You're done here, Ethan said, calm but absolute. Effective immediately. Jason stared at the form like it might bite him. You can take the severance we owe you. HR will follow up today, but you won't set foot in another Velocity showroom again. Jason didn't move for a long time. Then quietly he nodded, gathered his things, and walked out without a word. Ethan stayed in the office, alone, for a few seconds longer, letting the stillness settle. He didn't enjoy firing people. Never had. But what he hated more was watching good people suffer under bad leadership. And if his silence had enabled that, even for a day, then this was only the beginning of what needed to change. When he stepped out of the office, every eye turned toward him. Marcus had stopped wiping down tools. Lisa was frozen by a red coupe, a microfiber cloth hanging from her fingers. Ethan took a breath. Jason's gone, he said, loud enough for the room to hear, but soft enough to feel real. Effective immediately. Murmurs rippled, then silence. I know this morning was unexpected, he continued, but it was necessary. He looked toward Lisa and Marcus. We've let things slide here. Prioritized numbers over people. Performance over principles. Then he smiled gently. That ends today. He motioned toward Lisa and Marcus. You two, can we talk? They followed him toward one of the quiet, glass-walled conference rooms near the side of the showroom. As they stepped inside and closed the door, it was like stepping into a new story, one where the people who usually got ignored were finally being seen. Ethan sat across from them. He didn't start with corporate speak. He didn't pull out policies or charts. He started with 3 simple words. I am sorry. Lisa blinked. Marcus just stared. I built this company on the idea that people come first, Ethan said, his voice lower now, more personal. Not profits, not Polish, people. And somewhere along the way, I let that slip. That's on me. Lisa looked away for a moment, swallowing something hard. I don't want to lose good people because of bad leadership, Ethan continued, and I don't want either of you thinking no one sees the effort you've put in. He looked at Lisa. You treat these cars like they matter, and by extension, you treat our clients like they matter. Then he turned to Marcus. You spoke up when it was easier to stay quiet. That says more about your character than anything on your resume ever could. Neither of them said anything right away. It was a lot to take in, but slowly Lisa's posture eased. Marcus exhaled like he'd been holding it in all morning. So, Ethan said, leaning forward, here's what's going to happen. And with those words, something began to shift, not just in the room, but in the very foundation of what this showroom stood for. Because this wasn't just about firing someone. This was about rebuilding trust from the ground up. The sunlight hit differently that afternoon. It filtered through the glass walls of Cypress Hills showroom like it was trying to cleanse the space, touch corners that hadn't seen warmth in a long time. And maybe, in a way, that's exactly what was happening, because this place was changing. And it started in the quiet room, with 3 people sitting around a table. Lisa's gloves were folded in her lap. Marcus had set down his name badge on the glass, fiddling with the clip as if unsure whether he was allowed to keep it. And across from them, Ethan spoke with the weight of a man who finally saw what had been in front of him all along. I can't fix everything overnight, he said, but I can start with what matters most, making sure the right people are finally seen. He turned to Marcus first. You've been here, what, 3 months? Marcus nodded. Just about. Ethan smiled. You're already doing more for this team than some people who've been here for years. Stepping up, protecting others, owning the little things no one else wants to deal with. Marcus looked stunned, like he wasn't sure if it was praise or a setup. I want to offer you a new position, Ethan continued. Assistant service lead, higher pay, full-time, more responsibility, but also more voice. You've earned that. Marcus's mouth opened, then closed again. You serious? He asked quietly. As a heartbeat, Ethan said. Marcus didn't speak, but the small, stunned smile on his face said more than words ever could. Then Ethan turned to Lisa. He didn't rush. Lisa, he said, and his voice softened, like he was addressing someone who'd carried too much for too long. 8 years of showing up, keeping this place running when no one noticed, staying late, covering gaps, never asking for credit. She didn't look up. I've read the shift logs, Ethan added. You clock in early, you leave late. You've trained 3 cleaning contractors who came and went, and never once asked for a raise. Lisa finally met his eyes, like someone trying to figure out if this was real. Starting next week, I'm bumping your pay up significantly, Ethan said, and I want you overseeing detailing quality for the showroom. You'll be the last eyes before a car hits the floor, because no one cares more about how these vehicles present than you do. She brought a hand to her mouth, and for a second Ethan thought she might actually cry, but she didn't. She just nodded slowly, then whispered, "Thank you." Not out of gratitude, but relief. It wasn't about money. It was about finally being seen. Ethan sat back in his chair, letting the silence settle. It wasn't uncomfortable. It was heavy, in a way that meant something. There's more to do, he said. We need to bring in more support, fix the scheduling, and overhaul the bonus structure. I'll be working from here for a while. Not as your boss, just someone who wants to listen. He stood up, the meeting naturally dissolving. Lisa and Marcus followed, both still processing. As they stepped back into the showroom, Ethan motioned to one of the assistant managers. Call an all-staff meeting for tomorrow morning, he said. I want everyone here. That night, Ethan stayed late. He walked the showroom with a notebook in hand, not as a CEO, but as a student. He spoke with the receptionist about the pressure of client ratings, with a technician about the underreported overtime, with a junior sales rep about the unspoken rule of don't rock the boat. And he wrote it all down. No filters, no PR gloss, just the truth. By the time he left, the street outside was quiet, the glass showroom reflecting stars. He paused at the door, looking back one last time. The floor was spotless. The lights glowed softer. But more than that, something felt alive in the space. Not flashy, not loud, just honest. Lisa's words from earlier replayed in his mind. I just wish someone cared. He did. Now finally he did. The next morning something felt different. Not louder, not brighter, but clearer. The team gathered in the central lounge of the showroom, half curious, half cautious. No one had ever been asked to stop work for a meeting that wasn't about sales targets or service delays. Lisa stood near the back, arms folded loosely. Marcus leaned against a counter, still wearing his detailing apron. The newer staff hung back, whispering about what they'd heard. Jason was gone. Ethan Cole was here. And for the first time, people weren't just watching the CEO. They were listening. Ethan stepped into the middle of the circle. No platform, no mic, no script. Just a notepad tucked under his arm and a presence that didn't ask for respect. It simply earned it. I started Velocity Luxe because I wanted to change how people experience luxury, he began. I thought if we polished the cars enough, served the right coffee, closed enough deals, we'd win. He looked around the room. But none of that matters if the people building that experience are exhausted, invisible, or afraid to speak up. Silence. He wasn't scolding. He was confessing. I've spent the last week seeing this showroom through your eyes, and I've realized something. He held up the notepad. This place runs because of you, not because of policy, not because of numbers, but because of the people who stay late, clean quietly, correct mistakes no one else sees, and do it without being asked. He turned to Lisa, then Marcus. And starting today, we're going to build this company around you. There was a pause, a long, hanging beat in the air. Then someone clapped, then another. And just like that, a room that used to measure everything in closing rates and polished percentages began to feel human again. That afternoon, Ethan introduced Claire Jensen, the new general manager. She was in her early 40s with sharp eyes behind rimmed glasses and a calm authority in her voice that didn't demand silence. It inspired it. She didn't open with rules or charts. She opened with a story. "I spent 10 years managing a dealership where people quit monthly," she said, walking the room. "And I told myself, it's the industry. That's just how it is." But it's not. People don't leave hard jobs. They leave hollow leadership. That turned a few heads. Lisa leaned in a little. Claire smiled. "My job isn't to tell you how to do yours. My job is to clear the path so you can do it better." And with that, the tone was set. In the days that followed, you could feel it. Schedules were reviewed. Overtime was tracked and respected. Warranty packages were redesigned from the ground up. Transparent, verified. Lisa personally helped vet the language in the new customer brochures, catching details no executive had ever thought to check. Ethan walked the floor twice daily, not as a watchdog, but as a mentor. He'd stop at Marcus's bay, ask how training was going. Marcus had begun mentoring 2 new hires, young, eager, a little unsure. He showed them how to check tire alignment by sound, not just sight, how to feel a warped rotor with your hands, not just your eyes. He didn't raise his voice once. One morning, a junior salesperson made an honest mistake, promised a complimentary detail service to a customer without clearance. Instead of lashing out, Claire brought the team together and asked, "What can we learn here?" The team built a shared checklist, laminated it, and pinned it to the sales desks. Simple, effective. No shame, no fear. At lunch one day, Ethan caught Lisa in the staff lounge, sipping coffee alone. "You seem quieter than usual," he said, sliding into the chair across from her. She looked at him, then smiled. "That's not a bad thing. I'm not used to feeling safe." He nodded gently. "That's the kind of quiet I want here." She sipped her coffee again. "It's happening." Ethan didn't ask what. She clarified anyway. "The shift, you can feel it." He could. Everyone could. Customers had started noticing too. Online reviews spoke of refreshing honesty, respectful staff, and attention to detail that felt personal. And one morning, a customer left a handwritten note by the front desk. "This is the first time I bought a car and felt like a person, not a transaction. You're doing something right here." Claire read it aloud during the next team huddle. No applause, just quiet pride and a few watery eyes. Because it wasn't just a good review, it was proof. Proof that culture isn't built by policies, but by people. By Lisa, by Marcus, by Ethan, finally choosing to stand with them. Cypress Hills showroom didn't look that different from the outside. Still glass, still chrome, still quiet jazz. But inside, something had come alive. It had been 3 weeks since Jason's departure. 3 weeks since Ethan walked in with a hoodie and a notebook. 3 weeks since Lisa stopped walking with her head down and Marcus stopped second-guessing himself every time he spoke up. Cypress Hills showroom wasn't perfect, but it was healing. You could feel it in the way people greeted each other in the morning, the way Claire walked the floor not to check up, but to check in. And then came the test. It started like any other Tuesday. Cloudy skies, early chill in the air, and a full schedule ahead. By noon, the showroom was humming, engines warming, contracts printing, coffee brewing in the lounge. Ethan was in the back office finalizing a staffing budget when Claire burst through the door, her voice low but urgent. "We've got a problem." His eyes narrowed. "What kind?" "A customer, high profile. Lexus LS 600. Claims his wallet went missing during his test drive. He's not yelling yet, but he's not far from it." Ethan stood. "Is he accusing someone?" "Not directly," Claire said, "but he's already started hinting." Within minutes, Ethan stepped out into the showroom. The customer was mid-50s, polished, sharp suit, pacing near the front desk. The kind of man used to being listened to immediately. "I placed my wallet in the center console," he said, "went to the restroom, came back and it was gone." Lisa stood nearby, her posture tense. Marcus had just emerged from the service bay, brows furrowed. Claire approached the customer, steady but calm. "We're going to find it, sir. We'll review all the cameras, but I assure you, our team is trustworthy." The man scoffed. "You understand this isn't just about trust, right? This is a serious breach. I've got personal and financial documents in there." Ethan watched as old instincts crept into the room. The fear, the second-guessing, the unspoken panic that one accusation could undo everything they'd rebuilt. He could see it in Marcus's face, his eyes darting to Lisa, to the sales desk, back to the customer. Then Marcus stepped forward. "I think I might have seen something," he said, hesitant but certain. "Before the test drive, I noticed the center console didn't shut properly. It bounces open if it's not clicked all the way. Maybe it popped open when the door shut and the wallet fell." The customer raised an eyebrow. "So it just walked away?" "No, sir," Marcus said, voice steadying. "If it fell, it might have slipped under the seat or behind the console." Claire turned. "Let's check now." Ethan followed as they led the customer back to the test drive vehicle. Marcus opened the driver's side, leaned in carefully, and within seconds emerged with a brown leather wallet, dusty but intact, wedged beneath the seat track. The customer blinked. Marcus handed it over with both hands. "Nothing's touched. Just slipped down here." There was a long pause, then a quiet, almost embarrassed chuckle. "Guess I owe you all an apology." Ethan smiled but said nothing. Back inside, the team exhaled. The tension had passed, but something bigger had just happened. Lisa approached Marcus near the water cooler, handing him a clean towel to wipe the dust off his hands. "You didn't have to speak up," she said. He shrugged. "Neither did you, but you always do." Claire gathered the team a few minutes later, standing by the main desk. "I know it was just a wallet," she said, "but what do I see today? That was bigger." She looked around the circle. "No panic, no blame, just solutions, respect, and trust." She turned to Ethan. "That's culture. That's what you started here." But Ethan shook his head. "I didn't start it," he said. "I just finally stopped ignoring it." That afternoon, he printed something and pinned it to the break room bulletin board. It was a copy of the customer's follow-up email. "Thank you for how your team handled today. Calm, respectful, professional. I walked in stressed and left impressed. This is what luxury should feel like." At the bottom in bold, "Culture is how people act when things go wrong." For everyone at Cypress Hills, those words weren't just a reminder. They were proof. Proof that what they'd built, day by day, moment by moment, was real. By the time the leaves started turning outside the Cypress Hills showroom, everything inside had already changed. The walls were the same. The cars still gleamed. The floor still caught the morning sun like polished marble. But the spirit of the place was unrecognizable. Ethan stood by the front glass, sipping black coffee, watching as Lisa finished checking the tires on a Rolls-Royce Wraith. She didn't rush. She never did. She was meticulous, like always. But now, she smiled while doing it. There was no one hovering over her shoulder, no tension in her posture. She moved like someone who knew she mattered, and she did. Across the floor, Marcus was huddled with two new recruits near a sports coupe, walking them through proper wheel alignment and how to spot fraudulent service requests. The way he spoke, patient, deliberate, you'd think he'd been managing teams for years. Claire passed by him with a clipboard, pausing just long enough to say, "Nice call on the exhaust system yesterday." Marcus grinned, just trying to keep up with Lisa. Everyone laughed. It wasn't just a workplace anymore. It was a team, and it showed. Clients noticed. Reviews climbed. Retention soared. But Ethan didn't track numbers the way he used to. He tracked moments, like when the receptionist offered her chair to a delivery driver because he looked like he'd been standing all day. Or when Lisa stayed late, not because she had to, but because she wanted to personally prep a car for a widow who'd saved 5 years to buy it. Or when Marcus pulled Ethan aside and said, "Hey, that new kid? He reminds me of me. Let me mentor him, yeah?" Ethan nodded then. He's still nodding now. Because this wasn't just a comeback story. This was what legacy looked like. It didn't come from press releases or profit spikes. It came from people who were once overlooked, becoming the heartbeat of something better. Later that week, as Ethan prepared to leave Cypress Hills and return to headquarters, Lisa stopped him at the door. She held out a microfiber cloth. "It's clean," she said with a sly smile. "For the next showroom you visit?" He laughed, then took it, folded it into his pocket like a keepsake. "Thank you," she added, her voice quieter now, "for seeing us." Ethan looked at her, really looked. "No," he said. "Thank you for staying long enough to be seen." She nodded. No words left to give. She didn't need to. Outside, the wind rustled through the trees. The sky was that soft kind of gray that makes everything feel important. Ethan opened his car door but paused. From his rear-view mirror, he could see Marcus waving to a customer. Lisa walked back inside, sleeve pushed up, rag in hand, and he realized he hadn't saved this place. They had. He just finally cleared the way. As he pulled onto the road, his phone buzzed. A message from Claire. "Team asking if you'll stop by next month. They miss your notepad." He smiled and typed back, "Only if they still let me wipe windows." He put the phone down, rolled the window halfway open, and for the first time in a long time, Ethan Cole felt light. Not because the work was done, but because the right people were finally in charge of doing it. This wasn't just the end of a chapter. It was the start of everything he built Velocity Luxe to be. Real, honest, human. In the end, it wasn't just about cars, policies, or paychecks. It was about people. The ones who show up early, stay late, and hold everything together, even when no one claps for them. And maybe the real lesson here is that leadership isn't about being seen. It's about seeing others. If this story moved you, inspired you, or reminded you that good people still exist, don't forget to subscribe. We've got more stories coming. Real stories. Stories that remind us who we are and who we could be.